everybody. Today is Wednesday, April the 21st, about almost 6:15 a.m. in Nebraska. On our way to Berth, Illinois with our current load. Beautiful sunrise this morning. It's about ready to start peeking through here pretty soon. Again, it's so beautiful. I'm blessed to be able to see this almost every morning. If I'm going east, this is what I get to see. Going west, Alex usually gets to see that sunset. So, anyways, so lots going on, right? We had the verdict with Derek. I can never pronounce the name, but you know who I'm talking about. Where he was convicted of all 3 counts, murder and manslaughter. We have a lot going on with the vaccine and COVID. This morning they were saying that we've been for the last 2 months on a plateau with the same number of infections as the same number of declines. So it makes it it's very unprecedented, but it makes it look like we're at a plateau. But really what we're in is we're in a race to try to increase that vaccination to minimize and reduce the variants. I heard yesterday evening that Colorado is a new hotspot, as well as I believe Michigan. We have a lot of shootings going on. Just a lot of stuff going on, y'all. What is going on with our country and the world, really? There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things going on. A lot of those that believe in times, they're saying it's in times. A lot of people are just saying that the world's losing their mind. There's just a lot. So, yeah, a lot to kind of take in, a lot to think about. I challenge everybody to try to look at both sides. It's so easy to get in the pocket of a group that you're comfortable with and to set into those views. I think in order to make change, in order to understand both sides, you have to be optimistic and you have to be open to both sides. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with it, right? But you at least need to understand it. You need to understand what both sides have. And I'm not saying that it will change your mind, but it will give you a better education with your decision. So if somebody says, well, why do you feel that way? You can't just say, well, that's because that's what my party believes, or that's what my group believes, or this is the way I was raised, because that's not enough, right? I can tell you, I was raised, my mother was raised not seeing color. So for myself and my siblings, racism was never a thing for us. But then as I've grown and kind of got into this type of thinking, I found out, you know what, I have a lot of bias still. And it is because of the white privilege that I didn't feel that I had any kind of privilege. But then as white privilege started coming out and being challenged, then I was able to sit back and look at it and say, well, maybe I did have white privilege. And understand where that's coming from. I could say, you know what, I have a black brother, because I do. I have a stepbrother who's black, and I should understand, but I don't. You know why? Because I'm not black. I'm white. And no matter how much I think that I want to know what that feels like, I never will, because I can never set in those shoes. I can only listen to those who are in those shoes and empathize with them and understand and try to rally around them and try to understand. You know, something that kind social media about people talking about, I'm tired of people talking about what my ancestors did to your ancestors. I didn't do it to you. No, maybe you didn't, but things are still happening, right? That's what requires a change. It's not the fact that maybe your ancestors owned slaves. It's the fact that today we still have racism, and we still, it may not be in the form of slavery, but it is in the form of bias, and it is in the form of the way people react. And you know, people can wear a mask. I've said this a long time, and for anybody that knows me, and I talk about when you're dating somebody, don't go jumping in to a commitment of moving in and getting married too early, because people can wear a mask and that mask cannot be sustained. The same thing with anything, really. You can really tell a person's heart when they're highly emotional, and usually it's during anger. And if somebody will lash out with a racist slur when they're angry, they know that that's hurtful, and that it gives them the feeling of an edge. So for somebody to come out and lash out, that lets you know what that heart is about. If that doesn't cross your mind, you're maybe a person that did it. So I don't know. These are, and of course, I'm not a doctor. I have no research behind this. This is all just me and my opinion and my observations. Okay, agree with it, do with it what you will. It's just kind of me talking this morning, and some things I've been thinking about, listening to the news this morning, and just kind of hashing it over my head. It's just a lot, right? And like I said, I would never be able to experience what somebody of color goes through. And for the longest time I thought, you know what, I am not racist. I am not racist towards African Americans or Mexicans. But then I come to find out that I might have a bias against others. Not like a mean, like, bias like you would normally think, but I just look at different groups of people differently. And that's still racism, in my opinion. If I look at somebody who is Asian, I'm not saying that this is, I'm using this as an example. If I look at somebody who's Asian and think of them differently, if I look at somebody who's even Eastern Indian, and I think of them differently than what I would think of myself and my family, to me, I'm still have a bias, and that's still in a racist situation as far as I'm concerned. This is how I'm thinking about it. And I've had to re-look at how I look at different cultures and the way people have been raised. And now I'm going beyond racism. I'm going more into behavioral stuff and things like that. But it really opened up my eyes going through everything and rehashing all of this, to try to make sure that when I look at something, I'm being inclusive, and I'm trying to understand the other group, to make sure that I'm not trying to put that in the same box, right? I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to not be judgmental. I guess what it comes down to is I'm trying to be open to other people and their ideas and their cultures and their way of life and their thinking. That everything doesn't go based on us in the U.S. Doesn't go based on my upbringing. Doesn't go based on my religious beliefs or whatever that situation is. And once I started doing that, I felt a little bit freer. And I felt like I've been able to listen to things and make sure that I listen to both sides. Whether it's when I listen to the news, takes me so long to listen to news because I listen to several different news sources that are, I definitely hear a bias from one news source to the other. And so listening to all of that allows me to get a better picture and try to sort through the bias and really do a lot of reflection on it. So anyways, I don't know, this is kind of a heavy one this morning. Things that a lot of people say don't talk about is religion and politics, but you know what? That's what's happening in our world right now. I think that we need to confront this head on. We need to be uncomfortable and think about it, because we need to get out of our comfort zone and face this. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to have those discussions and those healthy debates to try to understand. I'm not saying that because you have a better understanding doesn't mean that you're going to feel differently, but you're going to have the full story, or you're going to have all the facts. And I would challenge you that if you feel strongly about something, that you would look at the other side objectively and see how you feel afterwards. If you still feel the same, then at least you will have a better understanding when somebody says, hey, how come you feel this way about dogs? You'll be able to speak to that. And somebody who doesn't like cats may listen to why you don't like dogs and say, you know what, I really do like cats. I don't know why I didn't like cats. You know what I'm saying? So I think that what it comes down to is we need to really look at both sides. We need to be objective. We need to try to look through the lens of both sides and then make our decisions. And understand that those decisions we need to live with and we need to own. And we need to be able to answer to that, because the world is changing and people want to know why. You know, it's not anymore of that person who I fall behind this party or I fall behind this group and therefore I have the same ideas. But that's not the way we are now. The way we are now is everybody is individual, and people are questioning authority. People are questioning. We're like, in my time, it was starting to question authority, but really we were raised that if you were told to do something by somebody that was an authoritarian, that you do it without question. Okay? That's not the case anymore. And I think that the reason why we have so many corrupt or perceived corrupt, and I'm saying that because I cannot tell you that it is or it's not, but I can tell you that based on what we're hearing, what we're seeing. Okay, I think I'm back. I had a little interruption service there. So, anyhow, what I was saying is I think that as we question authority, and as we approach these times, that we need to be educated and understand that we're not just getting emotional and riding on emotion. It's so easy, especially in the times of social media, and I've been guilty of this myself. I'm taking it like a sidestep here, but like even on Facebook, you know, people will post something on Facebook, and rather than looking into it or fact checking, people immediately say, oh, yep, this is it. So this dress is blue. It's not gold. And without fact checking, they're just going to believe and repost it, which is how a lot of quote unquote fake news happens. So I think that it's really important that you not get tied up in the emotions of others, because it's very easy to do, but to listen to what they're saying, validate what they're saying, right? And fact check. Look into it for yourself. And if that's what you see, then share it. Okay? So, I think that using this is going to help us understand each other. It's going to Number one, acknowledging. Number two is trying to understand where everybody's coming from, or somebody who you don't agree with. Fine, don't agree with them, but understand why you don't agree with them. And once we get through that, I think that we'll be able to start untangling the mess that we're in. Will it happen? I don't know. It sure sounds easy when I'm talking about it and as I'm thinking about it, but we are all individuals. We all have different ideas. We all have different perceptions. We all have been raised differently. We all are in different social classes. We all have different privilege. We all have different expectations. We all have different hurts. We all have different biases. There's different cultures. I mean, there's all of this that go into what makes each person who they are. And you have to really take all that into account when you're talking to somebody. I don't know. I think enough is enough for me today. I'm really deep in thought on these things, and I just really wanted to share. Let me see if there's enough light in the cab for you to see me. There is. Good morning. So anyhow, I just want to give a couple shout outs this morning. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my pops. Mom and Dad, I love you guys. Thank you for watching me every day on Facebook, on my page. Also, I really want to give a big shout out to my friend Alberta in Phoenix. She watches my recording every day that I put up on YouTube. And I really appreciate the support and that you guys listen to my babbling, and it means a lot to me. I really appreciate those that pop on live, watch live, interact. I really appreciate that. It lets me know I'm not just talking to the windshield and my phone every morning. And I enjoy sharing my thoughts. I enjoy sharing my views, and I enjoy sharing my updates. So I just want to thank you folks. I love you all. I'm going to go ahead and close out here this morning because I think I've talked enough, and I've kind of put some heavy stuff out this morning. I understand that. It's on my mind, and I want to share. And I'd like to hear what you got to say. So you can comment on this video as you're watching it, and I can go back and look at the comments. You can send me a text. You can give me a call. You can, however you'd like to share your thoughts with me. I enjoy your thoughts to help me process my thoughts. So, anyways, off to Illinois I go, and you guys be safe. There's a lot going on. It's not just a pandemic anymore. It hasn't always just been, but that was always the top. It was the election and the pandemic. Now we're shifting. So, but still remember, we are still in this pandemic. We still have a personal responsibility to make sure that we are providing a safe environment for others as well as our loved ones. If you're not getting the vaccine, I will say this, and I'll say it till the end of time. That's fine. I'm not going to judge what you're going to do. I will judge your behaviors and your actions by not respecting others. Please, 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 social distance, okay? Mask up. It's not that big of a deal. Mask up. If you have a breathing issue, put a visor on. If that's an issue, don't go out. I mean, seriously. We're so close to getting this thing under control that when we start making these lax decisions, we're going to have this fourth thing. And, it doesn't just affect you, because one person will affect 5 people. And then pretty soon, those 5 are going to affect 5 each more, You know what I'm saying. So please, wash hands, mask up, socially distance, get your vaccine if you're going to do it. Just let's get through this. Stop being entitled. This is, again, my opinion, but it's like, care.